Peace, 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 and bliss. I am giving away one ticket, so I'm going to take about 15, 20 minutes, play a few videos, and give everyone a chance. You can donate $1 and have a chance to get a ticket. Donate $1 and get this going. Okay. There's a couple of people that have not sent their email. I sent you $1 back. I'm sorry, I sent you $1 back asking you for your email. I need your email. I can't send you the link to join the pay-per-view. I can't send you the books if I don't have your email. I expressed this numerous times. Please get me your information within the next 45 minutes or so. I would appreciate it. Okay. And put your email in the memo line with your number. Okay, I'm going to play this video and we'll get ready to go from there. The pay-per-view will be in about 45 minutes. So you guys give me a second and let's go.
By the last decades of the 19th century, Darwin's theory was increasingly popular among Germany's intellectual elite. Darwin had claimed that humans and other mammals were the product of what he called natural selection, a blind struggle for existence where the fittest survived and reproduced, and the less fit died off. In his book, The Descent of Man, Darwin made clear that his idea of natural selection had implications for human society.
Charles Darwin clearly was a social Darwinist. He was not as rabid a social Darwinist as some of his followers later on, but he clearly did believe that Darwinism should be applied to human societies.
Darwin worried that civilized societies were harming humanity by helping the poor, caring for the sick, and otherwise saving those who nature would have killed off. Darwin feared that such humanitarianism could eventually destroy the human race. Darwin also predicted that in the future, the civilized races of mankind would exterminate the inferior ones. Darwin himself was ambivalent about some of the social implications of his theory. But in Germany, Darwin's ideas supplied a new generation of political leaders, social thinkers, and scientists with what they regarded as a biological justification for world domination.
If you read the scientists of the day in the late 19th and early 20th century, many of them were promoting racism and even racial extermination, extinction of races. They were promoting the gaining of living space. They were promoting competition, the things that we know of as social Darwinism. These were things being promoted by Charles Darwin himself to some degree, many other leading biologists.
The war of annihilation is a natural law, without which the organic world could not continue to exist at all. German zoologist Gustav Jaeger, 1870. Just as in nature, the struggle for existence is the moving principle of evolution and perfection, so also in world history, the destruction of the weaker nations through the stronger is a postulate of progress. German ethnologist Friedrich Hellwald, 1875. According to Darwin's theory, wars have always been of the greatest importance for the general progress of the human species. The physically weaker, the less intelligent, the morally lower, must give place to the stronger. German biologist Heinrich Ziegler, 1893.
Not all German Darwinists defended war as a biological imperative. Some, in fact, criticized it for undermining natural selection. They feared that wars in Europe would kill off too many of the superior races. Yet even these pacifist Darwinists tended to approve of wars waged against races they considered lower on the evolutionary scale, like the native peoples of Africa. And it was in Germany's colony in southwest Africa, now known as Namibia, that the social Darwinism of German military leaders moved from theory to practice in the years leading up to World War I. Between 1904 and 1908, the German military attempted to eradicate the Herero people in southwest Africa in what some scholars consider the first genocide of the 20th century. On October the 2nd, 1904, General Lothar von Trotha issued what became known as his extermination order, declaring that the Hereros either had to leave German southwest Africa or face extinction. Herero men would be executed, and Herero women and children would be driven into the desert, where they would die of starvation or dehydration. Von Trotha justified his extermination campaign by an explicit appeal to social Darwinism, telling one newspaper that human feelings of philanthropy could not override the law of Darwin's the struggle of the fittest. When von Trotha's extermination campaign provoked a backlash in Germany, a new plan was developed to move the remaining Hereros to concentration camps, where many more would ultimately die from malnutrition, disease, and exhaustion. In these death camps, the Hereros were subjected to medical experiments by German doctors, and their skulls were collected for shipment back to Germany to be studied by experts in racial science. By 1908, it's estimated that more than 80% of the Herero people had been eliminated from German Southwest Africa. Back in Europe, meanwhile, German military leaders prepared for the next conflict on their continent. In 1912, German General Friedrich von Bernhardi published his bestseller, Germany and the Next War. Bernhardi argued that the struggle for existence is, in the life of nature, the basis of all healthy development. Therefore, war is a biological necessity. Similar ideas could be found among the military leaders of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Count Franz Conrad von Hotzendorf has been called by one scholar the architect of the apocalypse for his formative role in World War I. The chief of the General Staff of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, von Hotzendorf, read Darwin as a young officer, and he soon applied the Darwinian worldview to his ideas about foreign relations. After World War I started, many German thinkers invoked Darwinian theory to justify the conflict, including prominent zoologist Ernst Haeckel, previously a pacifist.
Once it got going, there were many people who argued that it was a part of the Darwinian struggle for existence. Ernst Haeckel even wrote a book during the war in which he called it part of the struggle for existence, in which he argued that the perfidious French were using black colonial troops against the superior Germans. He found that horrifying, that they would do such a thing. And so there were many people who were justifying the war on as part of the Darwinian struggle for existence.
In the end, Germany and its allies lost the First World War. But the ideology of social Darwinism that inspired its academic and military leaders survived for another day. Among the defeated soldiers of the German war machine was a young corporal in the Bavarian army. Intensely bitter at the defeat of Germany and its allies, the corporal found new purpose for his life by embracing an even more fanatical social Darwinism than that which had been adopted by the leaders of the Second Reich. Within 2 decades, the whole world would know the corporal's name. Unser deutscher
We end today's show looking at a major investigation by the Washington Post that revealed the Smithsonian Institution holds a collection that contains 255 brains gathered in the first half of the 20th century. Much of it was collected at the behest of a racist
anthropologist. Go back, replying to an email, replying to a text, doing all of this. So give me a second. So yes, guys, if you have not got a ticket, you do have a chance or opportunity to send a $1 donation. Somebody's going to get into the pay-per-view for $1 if you cannot pay anymore. Hopefully, I have a number I've selected, so whoever can get that number or get closest to the number, you will be the person that will be able to come into the pay-per-view. So now, listen, I'm doing right now this on the coat. So give me 1 second. Hold on, guys. Hold on a second, please. Let's see. Okay, coat of arms. Very important. We're going to get into that as well. So hold on 1 second. Let's get it going.
Of arms. Join me today as I explain the truth behind family coats of arms on today's ancestralfindings.com podcast. One of the first things a lot of beginner genealogists want to explore is their family crest or coat of arms. It is a mistaken belief among beginners that every family has one of these somewhere in their ancient history, and newcomers to the genealogical field naturally want to celebrate their family by bringing their coat of arms back to life. This is a wonderful ambition, and if your family truly does have a coat of arms or crest that you are entitled to use, you should learn about it and display it proudly. However, actually having a coat of arms or family crest is much more rare than you might imagine. Having the hereditary right to use it is even more rare. While there are many companies out there that are willing to sell you all kinds of merchandise with your supposed family crest on it, the vast majority of these companies are not engaged in legitimate genealogical research. The coat of arms or crest you get may or may not belong to your family, and it might be made up completely by the company selling it to you, or you may not have the hereditary right to use it. If you really want to know something about heraldry, the art of studying coats of arms and crests and how it applies to your family, listen on. It's a fascinating tale. Historically speaking, a coat of arms is a design on the shield of a medieval knight. The design was unique to an individual. Sometimes the individual only had rights to the coat of arms during his lifetime. Other times he was allowed to pass it down to his descendants, and it became the family coat of arms. As time went on, some nations and even corporations adopted their own coats of arms. The symbols on a coat of arms are meant to represent the achievements of the person, state, or corporation to whom or which the arms were granted. The first documented use of coat of arms in medieval times is on the Bayeux Tapestry, which dates from the 11th century AD and chronicles the Norman invasion of England. Some of the knights on the tapestry are seen holding shields with heraldic insignia on them, usually painted crosses. These were the earliest and most basic types of coats of arms. The use of coats of arms became pretty common by the 12th century and were used by many knights and minor feudal lords who went into battle. Within another century, families were using coats of arms, usually ones granted to an ancestor a century before, as the family logo, and sewed these arms onto flags that flew above their castles and manors. Only the highest classes of people in medieval Europe used coats of arms, as they were the only one with ancestors distinguished enough to have been granted them by the kings of the time. Once a family started using a coat of arms, it was passed down through the generations from one to the other, even down into the present day. An individual had to be granted a coat of arms by a ruling monarch to be able to legally use it. After that, The laws or customs governing who had the right to use them varied by country. In most of Europe, only the aristocracy could use them. In the Germanic countries, both aristocrats and free citizens who weren't noble, but who had distinguished accomplishments, could be granted them and use them. In England and Scotland, only the person who was originally granted the coat of arms could use it as it was. While coats of arms were made hereditary in England by King Richard I in the 13th century during the First Crusades, each generation had to change the coat of arms slightly to distinguish it from the generation prior. Women were also allowed to bear their own coat of arms as long as it incorporated unique designs along with the main family design, so that the arms distinguished them as female bearers of the arms. Eventually, churches and towns were granted the right to use coats of arms to identify themselves. Universities and some companies that had royal charters were also given coats of arms, which became the prototypes of the modern corporate logo. Throughout the centuries, the use of coats of arms was governed mainly by custom, though a few places, mainly England, did have governmental regulations regarding their use. Today, the use of coats of arms is more closely regulated as many of them have been trademarked. The owners of those trademarks, be they families or organizations, are the ones who have the legal right to say how their arms can be used. England and Scotland have heraldic authorities which grant and regulate the use of coats of arms. Sometimes these authorities grant new arms to new individuals, families, or organizations, even into the present day. A coat of arms doesn't necessarily have to be ancient to be legitimate in England and Scotland. What is the difference between a coat of arms and a family crest? The family crest is part of the overall coat of arms. It is the three-dimensional object at the top of the arms. The top of something is often referred to as a crest, such as the crest of a wave on the ocean, or the crest of a mountain or building. The crest is an important identifier for what the person who originally received the arms did to receive it, and has often been
Okay.
used on its own.
Now, if anyone is familiar or have taken my class or courses, you understand the importance of a family crest. This is something that is a part of what you need to have done with it, with the first document, the very first document. There are 4 documents that we have to have taken care of and done correctly, along with a few other very significant procedures and papers. But when it comes to the coat of arms and family crest, I want you guys to understand how important it is. Now, did you hear what he said? The crest, it's like what? A wave. You see, it looks like a shield. It's a shield. What does a shield do? A shield is protection. It protects you, right? It protects you. It protects your family. It protects your assets. It protects everything that belongs to your personal property. You are also your personal property, correct? Who owns you but you? You are your own personal property owner. The only person that does not have the ownership of their property of themselves are people that are protected under their trust, people that are protected under their family crest that gives them the shield of protection, the water wave. Now you're not just floating along on sea, open water, anybody can just go throw out a hook and catch your ass and pull you up in the boat. You understand? So what's important is when you have a family crest, this is a part of your shield of protection of your trust. I take care of all of this, get everything situated. I have 2 different people that actually design the crest. If you don't have a family crest that you already have that's in your family line, you can also create your own crest. But there's things that you need to do in the guidelines of this, the paperwork that you need to extend out to these people to let them know, hey, I'm a very responsible, sane person. I'm not Black. I'm not blind. I understand what's going on in my life, and I have all full control over it because I am the fiduciary responsibility of me. No one needs to have fiduciary responsibility of me like I'm a minor child, a minor, a minority. I don't need anyone to have the responsibility or the control over me as a full-grown adult. I have all my capabilities. I am capable. I am not feeble-minded. I am not an imbecile in the eyes of the law who does not know how to portray themselves as a woman or a man. So now I have my shield of protection. that I put everything up under that is protected in many ways. We won't get into all of that. But there's many ways that this happens once you go through the process of the different paperwork. So there's 4 different things you need to do outside of the paperwork as well. Having everything documented, having your protection, as I said, your shield to cover you and your family, setting your assets, setting up your business. If you have a business, your business would go under your family trust. Your property goes under your family trust. I give the information in order for you to have the proper documents that actually can be entailed in your trust. If there's certain paperwork you have to have, and then you can put it under your trust, your real property, like literally. So when it comes to this, I really want people to understand this is just not talk. It's very important for you to understand this. You don't have to have me do it. I mean, I'm giving you guys all the clues. Once again, I'll bring it up about a person saying, doing things for free. I do this all the time, right? I do it all the time. I want our people to be free. So obviously, I'm going to continue to do this all the time. So I'm giving the information. So it's up to you to do your studies, your research, and pull it together, get it together, and do it. I do, the most I can, besides sit and hold your hand. If you want me to sit and hold your hand and guide you through it, that I don't have a problem with that. There's a cost associated with that, a donation that is required for my particular time, my currency is worth a lot. My time is very valuable, and I don't even charge what it's worth. I don't even charge what I charge people for a regular consult when it doesn't even come to these important matters. Like seriously, I don't even charge that much. Like literally, I don't even charge much for my counseling services. There are people, if they want to admit or say in the chat, they might be able to vouch. Yes, very reasonable prices, and I've helped a lot of people. So let's just verify that time. Sometimes when you're expecting current, I don't mind giving, but sometimes I got to get a little bit back. I can't be completely depleted and drained of all my energy, lacking in receiving and pulling in currency through my own personal business and being able to focus on that because I'm so focused on clearing you up. I'm so focused on getting y'all together. You feel me? So yeah, it's just that simple. So there's still, I think there's like 3 people I'm waiting on to send me your email, so that you can get your information and get the link to join. Not that you wouldn't be able to get it later. If you do not have it, if you don't have your email to me by 5:50, I'm sorry. I'm going to try not to disturb the rest of the group by having to stop, go in, send it over, all of that. If you don't have it in by 5:50, you will still get all of your book drop. But you're going to have to just wait till after the pay-per-view because I won't hold everybody up. It's a little inconsiderate. I've asked and sent the request. I've sent the Cash App request to a few people. Hey, send me your email. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. But yeah, let's finish watching this real quick and we'll go from there.
As a smaller logo over the centuries without the full arms beneath it. As centuries passed, the original meaning of the crest was often forgotten, and it simply became an identifying symbol for a family of high rank or nobility. Most European countries adopted the use of coats of arms over the centuries in the Middle Ages. Today, nearly anyone can claim the use of those arms, except in cases where they are trademarked, as most European countries no longer regulate their use. And some countries, like Italy, do not recognize them at all, leaving anyone free to adopt a coat of arms as their own. In the United Kingdom, however, it is different. There are still laws there governing the use of coats of arms that must be followed by anyone in any part of the world who wishes to use them. The most important thing to remember about coats of arms in the United Kingdom is that there is no such thing as a coat of arms that is granted to a surname. They are granted to individuals only. To legally use the arms, a person must be the person to whom the arms were originally granted, or a direct male line descendant in a legitimate line of descent. No illegitimate lines are eligible for use of the arms of that person. The College of Arms in the United Kingdom can make new grants of arms even today. To be granted a new coat of arms for you or your family, you must submit a formal request to the College of Arms directly. This applies to individuals, corporations, and private organizations. Americans who can prove a direct, legitimate descent from a subject of the British Crown during a period of British rule, such as Americans with ancestors in America when it was still a British colony, Pre-Revolutionary War can petition the College of Arms for an honorary arms that will be granted to one person. That person then has the right to pass down the arms through the legitimate male line of their family. This rule of legitimate male line descent is why some people with the same surname have the legal right to use a coat of arms in the UK, and others with the same surname do not. A real coat of arms is divided into several parts. Each part tells you something about the individual, family, corporation, or organization to which it was granted. The parts of a coat of arms are the motto. This is the motto of the person or entity who owns the arms. It can be anything they want to say that they feel represents them or their group or family. The motto may or may not be placed on a design of some sort, and it is located at the very top of the arms. The crest. Located directly under the motto, this is a three-dimensional symbol of some kind that identifies an achievement of the owner of the arms. The shield elements. Since arms were originally painted on shields, the shield is now a basic part of any coat of arms. It is a miniature representation of what the original shield looked like, or would have looked like if the person or entity who was granted the arms ever went into battle. There may be several different designs on the shield, and their placement and colors tell a story about the origin of the arms. Supporters. These are usually two animals or people that stand on either side of the shield, supporting it. The animals or people used as supporters also tell part of the story of the origin of the arms. Nothing stops you from designing your own coat of arms and family crest. Just know that it is not a hereditary one and has no official or ancestral meaning. You can make one for yourself or your family and use it as a logo. Many companies online will help you design your own. It is the companies that sell you what they tell you is your official family coat of arms based on your surname that are not to be trusted. As you have seen, only a certain few individuals are legally entitled to use an ancient and hereditary coat of arms. Companies that sell you merchandise with your supposed coat of arms on it are either using the coat of arms of a family with your same surname, and which you have no legal or hereditary right to use, or they are making one up for you and not telling you. They use all of the right parts of a real coat of arms, but the arms they are making for you are new, with no ancestral meaning to your family at all. Many companies have made a lot of money with this deception over the past several decades, as a renewed interest in heraldry began after World War II. While there is nothing wrong with designing your own coat of arms for your family, it is unlikely you will discover you are entitled to use an ancient and established one that has been handed down for centuries through the same family. Your family might actually have a legitimate ancient coat of arms, but your branch probably doesn't hold the right to use it. Only in a very few
Says
exceptions will
who?
you find you belong to a line that does have the right to use an ancient coat of arms. If you do, display them proudly, because they are part of a rich and lengthy heritage few can claim or prove. Heraldry is a real art. There are organizations in the United Kingdom and other European countries that can help you interpret the meaning on a legitimate coat of arms if you discover one in your family. Even if you don't have the right to use it, it is still interesting to know the meaning behind the arms your ancestors used. If you decide to buy a coat of arms from an online company or offline company, just know it will likely be a new coat of arms and not something ancient and legitimate. It doesn't mean you can't start using it as part of a new family tradition, though. By all means, start your own coat of arms now and pass it down through your family. Just be sure you record where and how the arms were started and what the symbols you chose to put in it mean, so future generations will know how your family got its coat of arms.
All right, guys. I wanted to do this quick drop. If anyone was interested, I actually got one person to send in a cash app the um, for the book drop. So, Michelle the Planter, congratulations, sweetheart. I will be sending you the link and the documents for all of the books in an email in the next few minutes. I'm about to get ready to start and get in on my the pay-per-view early so I can have some things planned for people that come in early and kind of go from there. Peace, love, and bliss to everybody that did come in. You guys have a great day. All right, I'm out. Till later.